What's up, Tyler? What's up, guys, from the Casual Master Quest podcast? This is your boy, Delvin Cox from the Delvin Cox Experience. Wishing you guys a happy holidays and just keep it up. Keep up the hard work, guys. It's paying off. You guys are killing it this year, man. I really appreciate the hard work you guys been putting in, man. Keep doing your thing. Peace.
Well, smack my ass and call me Tyler. Welcome to Casual Master Quest. Hello. It is the final episode of 2018. Even though it's probably going to come out in 2019, let's be real. Over in the corner, I have one of my good friends and close partners. Who are you?
I'm not sure anymore, really. This year's been one hell of a ride. It's got me questioning myself in all kinds of ways. But I am Nick, for all intents and purposes of this episode.
Yes, you're Nick. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Existentialism crisis averted. Wow. I wasn't sure. It's like
I brought it back.
You brought it back. This is this is the final episode for us. Maybe not for you guys. It might come out like January 1st or whatnot, but this is the final episode for us of 2018. What a year it's been.
It has been an interesting year. Lots of ups and downs.
Yeah, I mean, there's some high points. For example, I think this is the year that caused me to want to drink the most. You know, it's been a good year, I'd like to think.
Yeah.
No, bad joke? Fine.
Yeah.
Dead in the water.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, but you're here, and it's not a problem until somebody says it's a problem, so...
Yep, and I keep looking at everybody with crazy eyes saying, do I have a problem? And everybody's like, no, Tyler, please don't hurt me. So it's, it works out.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Man, we had a lot of stuff happen this week. Christmas happened.
Christmas did indeed happen. More for you than me, I think, because I didn't really grow up celebrating Christmas. I only had the one, Christmassy thing to attend.
If it makes you feel better, I grew up without Christmas for about 3 or 4 different times of the year. Of my childhood. So, heyo. Hashtag get a life.
I don't know if that makes me feel better.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Maybe. No. It's funny because if you laugh about it, like, wow, Tyler's making a joke about his dark childhood. It's like, no, there was a couple of times where I got ramen noodle for Christmas presents. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
You got the gift of food.
It's upsetting sometimes because I'll open up and I'm like, Mom, you got me beef. I want a chicken for Christmas. And she's like, maybe next year, honey.
Chicken was just a tad too expensive.
But then, like, the boyfriend at the time, he'll come around the corner. He's like, I got another one for you. And then I open up and it's spicy chicken. And it's like, oh my God, you're the best ever. It's so nice. But yeah, man, what's been going on your week, man?
When did I don't even remember. It's been quite a few days since we last recorded.
It's been exactly 7, I think.
Okay, then it's felt like forever.
8.
So, when I first moved to Canada, I lived with a family.
Yeah.
And when I moved out, we still kept in touch, and so I'll go over for Thanksgiving, Christmas, holidays, and then we'll just meet up for dinner every now and then. And so they called me over for Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. It was really good. I stuffed myself. I had a little bit of wine, played some cards. It was maybe about 7 of us, so it wasn't like too crowded or too crazy. Exchanged a few gifts. I got a bottle of Amarula. I don't know what they think about me now. I'm a little bit concerned that they gave me a whole bottle of alcohol, but I'm happy with that. I'm not complaining.
I would say nothing wrong with that. There was last night I saw my grandfather, who can't drink or won't drink anymore, give half a gallon of vodka to my uncle. And the way he held it up for the picture made it look like, I think the last time he did something like that and got photographed was probably when he was 18 in college. Like, I don't know what he's going to do with it, but I mean, more power to him, right?
Right. And then me and my roommate, we threw a Christmas New Year's fusion party on the 27th.
A New Year's fusion party.
A Christmas New Year's fusion. So right in between the 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you're going to practice the fusion dance. You're going to become one whole with the planet or something like that. Or you're going to become like a Gogeta. What's going on?
Oh, no. See, that was all part of the program, but towards the early end. The later end of the night was just really getting drunk.
Hey, that works too, right?
Yeah. So it was on the 27th. it was it was expected to be a little bit of a wild party, but it wasn't too bad. Nice and chill for a couple of reasons. We were expecting to be pretty crazy because my roommate just graduated. He's officially out, done with school.
Ooh,
and so
cool. I mean, cool.
Yeah, no, a lot of his set mates as well, like the people that he graduated with, they came over, and so a lot of them also graduated. So it was expected for everybody to let loose a little bit. Nobody let loose as much as we were expecting. But also the previous night, me and my roommate went out. We went out for happy hour. To
The happiest of hours.
to a bar downtown. We got there with 2 hours remaining on happy hour, where they were selling. It was 12-ounce beers, draft beers for $3.50 Canadian. So that's essentially like $2.50
I was
US.
gonna say 25 cents. I have no idea, man. You
And
can tell me.
it's almost 1-to-1 right now. So let's say $2.50. Yeah, let's say $2.50 US for 12-ounce. That's a pretty good deal, right? We only got maybe 4 out of our 13 drinks during happy hour. I'm gonna. It was a night, Tyler. It was a night.
I think I caught on to the ass end of it when you chose to stream all completely plastered.
Each of us drank about 1.3 gallons of beer each that night.
That is a large quantity.
Mind you, on very little to no food. Somehow managed to get home because some of my roommate's friends showed up, and they sort of babysat us for an hour or two, making sure that we got home okay on transit. And then when we got home, my roommate passed out, and then I'm like, you know what would be a good idea right now at 2 a.m. is to turn on stream for whatever reason. And I actually had a good time, and people showed up, which was even more surprising. And I didn't do anything ridiculous or say anything stupid, or at least
that we did clip or remind you of. Yes.
Yeah. And I sobered up by the end of it, and I just went to bed, and I felt like crap the next day, but I had to clean up for the party, and my roommate was not able to even smell alcohol, but he still managed to power through it, and we got a little bit more drunk that next night.
Nice. Classic.
Beyond that, I've just been hanging out, getting in all the gaming I can before classes start. Classes start on the 3rd of January, so yeah.
You got a couple more days left.
We've got a couple more days left, and we've got no plans for New Year's. Both of us have lost the mood to go out and do something wild, so we're just probably gonna cook up a storm or get some takeout, get a few movies, and just hang out.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah.
Over on my end, I think we recorded on Saturday, and since then I had 2 parties. Let's see. First party was over at my grandma's, which I got to hang out with my sister and my mother, and of course my wife, hopefully. And it was a good old time because I got to see my niece and nephew open presents. Except there was a little bit of a downside that time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What happened?
One of them started, saying, "Oh, my tummy hurts. My tummy hurts." And it's like, "Oh no, my poor nephew. He's suffering." And then he started puking. A 5-year-old puking. It's frightening. And I hear him crying and puking in the bathroom, and then he's like, "Mommy, I still want to open presents. I was not a bad boy." And it's like, it just breaks your heart. It's like, I'm like, let's bring it to the toilet at this point. Let him open it. But he ended up opening the present. I got him. I decided that he would be better suited for the SNES Classic. I ended up hacking and all that stuff. So yeah. I wanted him to start enjoying video games. And quite honestly, I'd rather.
Yeah.
My niece, who is 2, I think, she's a little young for video games, so I got her started in a different route and got her a bunch of Mega Blocks.
Nice.
Have her fun, building, and hopefully Jackson, my nephew, doesn't steal it. However, things became progressively worse because he kept throwing up during this party, and it was throwing me off. I'm like, man, he's really sick. I want to get the heck out of here. I'm tired as heck. So I come home, and close my fluttery little eyes because I accidentally partied the hell out of the night before, got next to nothing for sleep. I was very tired. And I went to bed around, let's say, 6-7 p.m. And I woke up around 10 p.m., 3 hours later. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm not going to hold any food tonight. all of a sudden I started throwing up. I'm like, come on, are you kidding me? I just ate the best dinner I've had in like a month. And I'm going to, well, actually, that's not true. I went to Black Rock with Nick. Oh, that was so good. Anyways, started throwing up. Like, I'll spare the details. Things were coming out in ways one should not want them. And I was viciously sick for the first couple of days. It was rough. Thankfully, by the time Christmas happened, I recovered for the most part, except for the fact that I couldn't really... I couldn't stray too far away from the restroom. Let's put it that way. And
yeah.
So I recovered from that. When I came to the second Christmas party this weekend, I was mildly cautious because I've learned my lesson. If somebody's coughing or complaining that their tummy hurts, don't get near them. They're contaminated. They're filthy. They're radioactive. Just let them be. They'll sort it out. Let God handle it. Don't play with them. Thankfully, there was none of that. I didn't have to worry about that at all. But things worked out good. Whew. Got a couple of good gifts. On my end. Shout out to my Meow Meow for sending me a nice figure of Pickle Rick.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. Pickle Rick! But anyways, I have a lot of video games to play this week. But in terms of that, Merry Christmas, by the way.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrated and had a good time. Hopefully everybody had a good time.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm reminiscing about my close call with death. I've never gotten that sick in a very long time. Oh, that was not fun.
Yeah, I haven't gotten sick in a little while here, and getting sick when you live alone for the most part is not fun. And I know I live with my roommate, but my roommate has his own agenda, his own day-to-day things. There's nobody to wait on my hand and foot. Nobody to bring me food, to rub my belly, to give me meds.
Oh, don't worry. My wife did not do that either. She didn't want to come near me. She gave me the basic help, out of courtesy and all that stuff. Like she turned up the heat 20 feet away, and she gave me a blanket and some meds. But other than that, she's like, "No, I'm sleeping on the couch. I'll just burn the bed afterwards." I was so sick that I watched Tim Allen's Last Man Standing, and I thought it was good. Like,
you were pretty. Yeah, man, it was pretty delirious at that point.
Yeah, I was losing. I'm like, man, Tim Allen's not so bad. It's not as good as Home Improvement. And then an hour later, this is better than Home Improvement. Tim Allen's great. Wow, it's cold in here. And it's like, dark days, man.
Yeah, man.
So, video games. We played video games.
We are a video game podcast.
Should we talk about the video game that we beat last night?
We successfully navigated, maneuvered, and beat Dead Space 3.
We beat Dead Space 3, Visceral Games Dead Space 3 from 2012, I believe.
Yes. It was it was an experience. I'm not one for horror games of any kind, jump scares, movies, TV shows. Not my thing. No, I'm a scaredy cat. I'll jump at the slightest, spooky kind of scenario. It's not my thing. It really isn't. Dead Space 3 didn't have a lot of that, and having somebody else made it a little bit more fun, but it had its jump scare moments, but they weren't too bad. It was not that I wasn't expecting them.
I think the nice thing is because we were playing together, we don't have to worry about so much of, oh God, I'm alone in here. I don't know when and what's going to come behind me. We had each other's back. There was a moment where it's like, when something comes down, like I got the ass covered, and it's like, well, I got the rear covered. You can cover that donkey, but okay, sure. And it's like, I got the left, you got the right. We stay each other.
And there was, I think there was a few moments which I think our teamwork really clicked. And then we just back ourselves into a corner because there's a room full of, necromorphs. And then we'd just be calling out, all right, we got two on the right, one up ahead, one on our left side. Oh, look out right behind you. And then we'd just be back to back shooting all of these things. It was a beautiful moment.
There was some good moments where we had legit teamwork where I was like, man, I want to high five this motherfucker, but he's like 2,000 miles away. It was a good. Well, I guess the big question is, let me ask this. Is it a good game?
It was all right. I'd give it like 6 out of 10.
Okay. Was it a worthwhile $10 game?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. I mean, like $60, it's kind of shaky.
I mean, I can understand you spending that much money if you're a fan of the series, but it's story-wise, it's very confusing, and it seems very last minute like it was put together really last minute and very convoluted. Graphics wise, I feel like it holds up for the most part after 6 years. It's not the worst, but control wise on keyboard and mouse, it feels janky.
Yes, it does.
Like from the get-go, I'm like, all right, this is probably a lot better on controller, but I'm just going to continue playing on keyboard.
I had a couple of problems because before, like on Dead Space 1 and 2, you can hook up a controller to it, but the configuration of it isn't one-to-one. After a while, like Dead Space 2, I had to give up using controller because half the buttons wouldn't assign themselves properly. It might have been the controller at the time, but I had a pretty good wireless Logitech controller. And unfortunately, the only way you can play it natively on a controller is for the PlayStation 3. So if Dead Space 3 came out on the PS4, I would be all over that shit in a heartbeat. If any Dead Space came out for the PS4, I'd be on that shit. Oh, man. I would love to play that again. Anyways, yeah, so we beat it. Took about, I'm guessing, between 13 and 15 hours. Maybe a little bit less than that. I would say around 12, 13 hours. Because I think we did close to 2 5-hour segments, and the last one we spent about 2.5 hours doing.
I think you're right. Yeah. I would say about 12 hours. 12 hours is a good estimate of how long we took. Putting aside all the breaks, we took maybe 45 minutes, an hour's worth of breaks.
I would say we took some breaks. Plus, I would say at least an hour and a half to 2 hours of it was us customizing our weapons in front of the bench. Because there's so much customization to be had there that it's just mind-boggling. It's so awesome, too. Just because before, Dead Space 1, it's like, okay, here's this gun. Here's the pulse rifle. Here's the flamethrower. It's like, in Dead Space 3, it's like, you make whatever the fuck you want. Here's a frame. Here's a Lego set. Go in and build, a machine gun that you can put a conic dispersal on to turn into a shotgun on top. And on the bottom, you can put a flamethrower. Feeling feisty today? Why don't you put a second machine gun with a conic dispersal on it so you can have a double shotgun? Shotgun on top, shotgun on the bottom. Why not? And it was interesting.
Yeah, no, I thought that was the best part of the game. The freedom in combining different what do you call it? Attachments, different tips, it was just really nice having a modular system like that. You don't see often in a lot of games now.
Like another thing I noticed and I really appreciate is like a javelin gun. Javelin gun is, long story short, you shoot a giant pole, it pierces them. If it kills them, pins them to the wall. It's comical. But in Dead Space 3, they offered a secondary support called an electrocution module where you shoot it and then you activate, instead of using a second weapon, you'll activate your secondary effect and it will electrocute around it, which will help stun enemies. It'll kill little ones. It'll trigger explosives. So it was great for babies or those little buggers that would reanimate, or just like the ones that would just jump on you and nibble at your shoulder and stuff. It was fantastic.
Yep. But yeah, Dead Space 3 is a game I do not regret playing or buying it. It was worth it. It was good fun.
I think so. It was. Yeah. It wasn't like top notch fun, but I think it was probably the closest that we could have to something that was not so great that we're mesmerized by it, but it wasn't bad enough that we hated it, and it had the perfect middle ground where if we made enough witty commentary and maybe some alcohol, it makes for a good time.
Oh yeah,
it's almost like a co-op version of Fortnite, essentially.
Pretty much, but just not as bad. What have you been playing, Tyler?
Over on my end, I can talk about Pixelmon if you really, really, really want me to. Don't twist my arm too much here, Nick.
Oh no, please don't talk about Pixelmon. It's not like we talked about it a month before.
I know. How about just regular on Minecraft? I'm building a giant 3D model of Scissor, and I'm trying to do that, and it turns out I'm terrible at that. So I got this weird stick figure of Scissor right now. We'll see how.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much. Played some more Super Smash.
Why in Minecraft and not in Pixel Spark?
Well, technically it is Pixel Spark, but basically what's happening right now is there's a program called Schematic. I think I mentioned it before. If I do it on the Pixel Spark server, I got to buy the material and all that stuff, or get the material and then put it up. So right now what I'm doing is I'm playing on the single player creative mode, so I can have everything instantly. And then once I'm happy with it, I'm going to copy into a schematic, go onto the server, know exactly how many materials, and then instantly put it up. So
okay, cool.
I figured, it's smart to play a little bit more creative. I mean, The other option is to ask them to give me creative mode, and they won't. Good for them. Other than that, I played Dead Space 3 with you, and I think probably the last big one I really want to point out is Uno. Uno, I was okay with the Uno fan back when I was a kid. I, didn't care for it as much when I was an adult. But Uno was on sale on Steam. I'm not sure if it still is, but it was $10 normally, and it dropped down to $3 around Christmas time. And I jumped on that because I was playing Pixelmon, miserable with my life. If the camera was on me, it was in like a grayscale. It's like, Tyler's miserable playing Pixelmon. What is he gonna do? And it just shows me angrily hitting the keyboard going, I'm unhappy. And then he turns to look and his wife is playing a game, but she's also watching somebody stream Uno. And I'm like, Uno? And I'm like, I want to play Uno. And it's like the color filled into the vision of the camera. And I'm like, Tyler wants to play Uno. And it's like, I'll pay $10 for it. Maybe it's on sale. It's $3. And I look at the wife. Wife looks at me and it's like, we're playing some goddamn Uno. And so we played a shit ton of Uno with a lot of people. People from the server actually played with my friend Brandon, and things got pretty hectic. I've learned a lot of things about Uno. In fact, there are more rules than I thought if you play it legitimately.
Yep.
Like the 7-0 rule, where if somebody plays a 0, everybody rotates their hand depending on the flow of the players. And if you play a 7, then you get to switch your hand with somebody else. And
those are rule sets exclusive to the card to the video game.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Funnily enough, so we played some Uno at our party, and everybody was arguing about the kinds of rules we can play because apparently culturally the rules change. This is what I've decided.
Oh yeah, house rules every step of the way, man.
And so it was frustrating for me. It was frustrating for everybody. And there was the one guy who was happy and smug because we were playing by his rules and he was winning.
Oh, of course.
So I was looking into it, and the official Uno rules are not what anybody ever thought they were. So yeah, the card, I think it also depends on the deck. Each deck has its own different like variants and rule sets.
Yes, in the Uno game specifically, there's like a Rabbids from Rayman.
Yeah. I've seen that
gameplay. Different modes and stuff. I'm not a big fan of that. Another mode or rule that I noticed you can turn on is called stacking. If somebody places a red 9 and you have a red 9, you can put down a red 9 on top of that, like instantly. And then it pretty much ends it like it's the end of your turn. It goes to the next person. So you can effectively skip somebody by doing it like that. Or if you want to, if somebody drops a +4 wild card onto somebody across from you and they're about to eat it, you can put your +4 down and screw over that person or the next person instead. And it'll cancel out the first one. Not as good when you're trying to stack up like draw 2 cards, because if you cancel one out, it doesn't stack. Like when I say stack, I'm just saying like put the same card on. Like the effect does not stack in that sense. And lastly, there's bluffing. Apparently, I'm not sure if it was just the rules at the time. If you put a +4 wild card down, and you could have played any other card, the person that's about to receive the punishment can call your shit out.
Yep.
And if they show your hand and it turns out that they did have a card they could use, they'll eat the card instead. And that is nice. I like the chance.
That is part of the official rule set I've learned now, so that you can challenge +4s because +4s are apparently only meant to be used as when you don't have anything else you can play.
Right. Yeah. And that was fun. I liked it. And if you ever want to play, Nick, just let me know, buddy.
Just to clarify, the Steam sale is on till the 3rd of January. It's 10 a.m. And I'm going to assume that's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that would make it 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday the 3rd. No, sorry, January the 3rd.
Friday the 3rd. I was like, oh no, that's in 5 days. Wait, is Friday the 3rd? No, that's a Monday. No. That's a Monday. Okay, wait, no, this is December. Let me look at January here. Oh gosh, I'm being thrown off.
It would be Thursday, I believe.
The 5th or Friday would be the 4th.
Yeah.
Friday. Okay, according to this calendar. I don't want to goof up and. Okay. Anyways, Uno. What else have you been playing, Nick?
Beyond Dead Space 3 and Destiny 2, I picked up Monster Hunter World.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. I put a little bit more time into it, not as much as I would have liked, but a little bit more time, and it's a game.
Tell me about it. What is? Let's say hypothetically, you are me, and I have next to nothing in terms of knowledge about Monster Hunter Worlds. Is it?
Which is me, pretty much the same, but there's something about the game.
You're playing the game.
No, yeah, it's one of those. To me, it's very much like The Witcher 3, where it doesn't tell you a lot of things, and it just throws you into it. The game does a very good job at the start of telling you specific pieces of information, but there's just so much to the systems or how the game works that all of that gets lost really quick, and there's all these different things to keep track of. Like, nobody really tells you until about maybe 2 hours in that you should be eating before every hunt or every thing you set out on, because it gives you temporary stat bonuses. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to buff up before the raid, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's common knowledge.
Yeah, but how would you know that you have to do that specifically at the canteen if you've never played a Monster Hunter game before?
Oh, I have no fucking idea. I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just joking around. World of Warcraft days, it's like, yeah, eat this thing for 10 seconds. It'll give you a stand buff.
Each weapon has sharpness during each battle that goes down the more you use. So the more you use it, the sharpness of that weapon decreases. And so you have to sharpen your weapon every now and then on your hunt to bring it back to maximum damage potential. And there are no...
there's durability that you got to like take care of mid-fight.
Yes.
Or mid-hunt, rather?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes even mid-fight, while you're in the middle of it with a big-ass monster.
Hold up, guys. I need my whetstone.
Honestly, yes. You pull out your whetstone, you go find a corner, and you go chink, 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 sharpen.
I just imagine like 5-10 people hunting, and then one's like, I gotta go pop a squat. And somebody walks around the corner to see what he's doing. And he's like, come on, get sharper, max DPS.
It doesn't take that long, but if you have aggro, you're basically a sitting duck at that point because you can't move during it, and you have to put your weapon away. And there are different variations. Like, you start off with the standard being, I think, like a white or like a really light gold, and then it just goes further on, and nobody really tells you about it. And so I've been watching a lot of videos. Nobody tells you that you get more rewards. No, actually, they do tell you that you get more rewards by capturing a monster rather than slaying it. But you get specific rewards depending on where you carve the monster. So if you have a bigger monster, you'll get different rewards if you carve at the head versus the tail. Sometimes you can chop off the tail and carve just the tail and then go finish off the monster, because each monster has different stages. My biggest issue with the game is how bad the sub is, the English sub. The English dub, the voice.
Oh, okay, the voiceovers.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just really bad. It's like a really, really bad anime dub, which I think in the grand scheme of things is probably really not that bad, if that's my worst thing about the game.
No, not at all. I mean, you could say the same about Breath of the Wild. Like, the voice over in English is just comical at best for a lot of the characters. So, that's still a pretty good game.
Yeah,
I'd like to think. Maybe somewhere up there.
There are 14 different kinds of weapons, and so 14 different
like classes, or
14 different weapon classes.
Okay.
You've got regular sword and shield, you've got dual blades, you've got a katana, you've got a great sword, you've got a great hammer, gun lance, a gun horn. No, what was it called?
What horn?
Basically metal bagpipe that you can use as a weapon. I can't remember.
Metal bagpipe that you can use.
Metal or bone, yeah. And so it's a ranged support weapon that you can use it to bash monsters when they get too close. You have a switch axe, a large axe, a bow, a heavy bow, a bow, a light bow gun, and a heavy bow gun. And you've got the insect. It's
an insect. You said an insect. What's going on here? You're scared.
An insect glaive. So it's a staff thing where you have like your buddy insect. You send it out to extract essence from different parts of a monster, and they give you different buffs, like a health buff, an attack buff, and a vitality buff, I think.
Sure.
and you can use it to like launch yourself. You can use the actual glaive to launch yourself into the air and try and mount monsters. It's fucking fascinating, dude. Like the game has so much depth, but
Like,
it does.
I thought we were talking good about Dead Space 3 having a variety of weapons to choose from in terms of, utility, but it sounds like Monster Hunter might have a contender here for wild weaponry.
Well, so I mean, it's a little bit with Dead Space 3. We're talking more about how you can create, like double shotguns. You can have 2 shotguns on one gun.
Hell yeah, double shotguns.
Whereas here, it's like you can either. I don't think I'll ever like specialize in the one weapon, but I'll specialize in maybe 2 or 3 to like cover my grounds based on different kinds of monsters you're fighting. Because some weapons do blunt damage, and maybe you want more blunt damage than severing damage. Maybe you want the severing damage to maybe hack off a certain part of this monster. And then each weapon goes into a bone and an ore family upgrade. With the bones focusing on monster bone parts, and the ore part focusing on monster bones and finding ore out in the wild. Because when you do go on, to different areas, you can mine,
Ladies and gentlemen,
ore
this is where
outcrops.
Tyler starts to tune out because he has no idea what the fuck is going on.
You can mine ore outcrops. You can go collect bugs. And there's so much to this game,
I
and
believe you. You are very convincing. There is a lot to be said about it.
it is a beautiful game, though. I'm playing to be able to stream it. I have to play at, I think, about medium graphics, and even then, it is a very pretty game. It has its bugs. It has a few bugs like every other game does, but like stuff like animals clipping through walls randomly and just like appearing out of nowhere.
Kool-Aid Man on through. It's like, hey, oh yeah.
You can play with up to a maximum of 4, I think, on certain hunts, most hunts. So you can party up with 4 people, or you can randomly get 4 people to join you. I've been playing solo for the most part right now, just to get a feel for the game. And it is better on controller than it is on keyboard, because there's just so much to do, and the aiming on it just feels a little janky on keyboard. And I just plugged in my controller and I went for it, and I'm having a good time with it.
Really, it's weird knowing you would choose the controller over the mouse and keyboard. You always felt like you're like, keyboard mouse elitist squad. No offense.
No, I mean for first person shooters, you can't not. For competitive first person shooters, you can't not get a keyboard and mouse.
Okay, whatever you say, man.
But also in this case, there's just so many different sub menus that are available, that mapping them to all the different keys would just take up I wouldn't be able to reach them all when I needed them. So having a controller just makes it easier, and you really just don't need to aim as fine as you do with the first person shooter.
Good deal. So Monster Hunter Worlds, good game.
In my opinion, it was worth it. Yeah. I'm
glad. You've been talking about how you wanted to play it, and now that you have it, I'm glad you're enjoying it. How many hours do you think you put in so far?
12, 13 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there end game? Like, do you beat the game, or is it kind of there's always going to be something you can hunt?
You just keep grinding until you have everything you want. There's
boy.
Like end game is essentially like maybe if you're a casual player once you beat the campaign, but with all the DLCs and all the free stuff that they've given out so far, and the expansion that's coming out, you just go out, hunt, and get better gear until you have everything you want.
Now, I'm looking at the main story right now for How Long to Beat. It's suggesting single player is about 51 hours.
Yep.
Okay, that is a lot.
Because I think I'm still in the tutorial phase. This is the extended tutorial where it's not they're not hand holding me, but some of it is a little easier, and they're just introducing me to the different parts of the game or how to do certain things slowly, but in a way that's not like Ultra Sun and Moon. Like, it still makes me feel like I can make my own choices, and I'm the gamer here. They're not telling me what to do, but it's still, I would argue, the tutorial phase.
Okay, fair enough. Awesome. Okay. Is there any other games you want to talk about before we shoot on over to a little family tree history of 2018 for CMQ?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Awesome. So this is where we'll play the soft piano music or something. I don't know. But man, it's 2018. What a fucking year, huh? Fucking 2018 for Casual Master Quest. We started Oh man, I don't know when we started. A very, very long time ago. Let's see, 33 episodes. Let's see. According to this, we started on May 14th.
May 14th. Okay, it's off by 10 days. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, that's still up there. So we started in May. We had 7 good months of fun action for you guys. And a lot's happened over the year, man. We've had I think my favorite part was probably the skits, honestly. I know that 1/3 of the party didn't like the skits as much once they realized what was going on, but I had a good time with it, I'd like to think. I mean, Nick, no offense, you yourself said that you love doing the skits, and everyone.
Oh no, I do. I was just trying to. I mean, this is, it's my first podcast. You and Cam had some experience, so me coming into this, I was completely fresh. I was a blank slate, if you will.
Oh no, skits! I've never seen anybody else do a skit before. This is the first time in all of podcasting history.
I'm talking about like podcasts in general.
Oh, okay.
And so like the whole thing, just having to having a fixed date every week where we're going to be doing this, and then coming up with things to talk about, and doing some research. It's got me a little bit more in touch and up to date with the industry.
Right. I mean, there's a lot that you get to learn and understand. And for me, listening to other video game podcasts like Giant Bomb and all that stuff, you absorb a lot, and then you have thoughts and opinions, and it's like, wow, okay, that's happening. And forcing yourself to become active in a field of study that you're not used to can be pretty mind-opening at times.
Yeah. I do think at some point I would like to get as a career involved in the video game industry.
Yeah.
If possible, but not as a as a developer. Maybe as more like this. Like, I think we'd start out learning about shit and just maybe, I don't know. I enjoy like talking to people, learning about different things, learning about the industry, what the trends are, where things are going, which company's fucking up, who had the latest blunder, stuff like that.
You named all the negative things. How about anytime they have a triumph or a success? Come on, Nick.
No, because apparently the world never forgets the bad the mistakes. Who cares about the good things?
Everybody forgets the good times, the triumphs that happen, but the moment somebody screws up, everybody has a thought and opinion on it. It will be immortalized. Speaking of mistakes, do you remember our first skit?
Yeah, I do. Was it the in relation to a little game called Detroit Become Human?
What should have been game of the year, potentially. I think it was game of year for me for like 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. You all you did was rave about it.
I tried, and you guys shut it down hard. Oh man.
I mean, I don't know. I had no way of relating to Detroit Become Human because I don't have a PS4. So
that is very fair.
Yeah. That was a skit, Tyler. That was I'd like to think that our skits got better over time. Really, I think we really hit our stride around when we did the Destiny skit.
That is true. Our first skit, and I think this is the only one that Cam, one of our previous hosts, was willing to do, not realizing the full extent of what was wanted in it, or rather what I wanted, and I guess you went along with it at first. We were. I think we had you pretend you were David Cage, and Cam and I were his trusted associates that wanted to pitch ideas for the next new game after Beyond Two Souls.
Yep.
And
it was something. I had fun with it.
Detroit Become Human was the thing. Wow, it became real. There was another time where I remember some reason I thought it was cool to post dark quotes by famous developers, and this deep, booming, dark demon god voice thing I did, like when I did Kojima.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. I think my first big break when we got to do this, and I think even Maria had fun. It kind of soured me up because the moment we were getting ready to start the podcast, Cam was like, I'm not doing this. I can't role play. I won't role play. And it's like, are you sure? Because you'd be. I got a good line. No, I won't do it. And I was like, okay, fine. But the moment I got to working on the episode where Maria challenges the guild, I think that was my first big breaker. Was like, I could make some good shit with this.
Yeah,
we could have fun with this, and a little audio cue here and there, and all of a sudden people can become immersed if you give them the chance. And I think after that, it's like I wanted to make sure every few episodes we had a skit just for fun. Honestly, if I had my way, I'd do it every single time, but those things take hours to edit.
No, it's a lot of planning. Yeah. So as we figured out last week when we were doing the Game of the Year skit, we said typed it out right before the episode, right before we started recording, and I think that itself took us an hour to figure out.
Yes. Like instead of having me write the script wholesale like all the other ones, this one I was like, Nick, let's just type down what we think we would say to each other, and then we just wrote a fucking 8-minute presentation to each other. Like, we're dead silent for the most part, except for a couple of giggles here and there. It was like doing AOL instant messenger with each other, like her. What do you think Game of the Year is, Nick? LOL, Fortnite. Fuck you.
And I think that was our best one so far. Because of the fantastic work you did producing it, and also because we both had input on the dialogue. It felt a lot more natural. Yeah, it was a lot more natural. Like, all right, this is something I'd actually say, kind of thing,
So I think we had 5 main skits that we got to do this year. So we had David Cage's Next Big Idea, which was episode 3. We shot way forward. It took a while before we were willing to do one again, like 3 months. And that was when we had a guest, Maria.
Yeah.
Maria, Lord of the Marias. She challenged the guild and, pretend that she was a catfolk mage. And I wanted to make that sound as authentic as possible. And it was fun. Yeah. Nick got the taste for blood and was okay with us doing Destiny's Final Fight, where we posed as 2 guardians duking it out over in the Dream City, I believe.
Yes.
What's up?
It was in the Dreaming City. Yeah.
Okay. I got Vicky, one of our other guests, willing to humor me in just like a 5-second skit. I believe it was the Yeet meme that I recently discovered.
It was based off of Vine. A little late to the party, but that's okay, Tyler. We'll
I know. And then I think the tires really hit the pavement when we did Halloween specifically.
Yeah, and then it took a while since for up until the next one. I think 2 months, if I'm reading that right. Yeah, but I think things got busy on both sides of us. Yeah, so it made sense. But I think the last 2, the Halloween and the Game of the Year, I started getting into it a little bit more. But I was already game from day one, honestly. It
was a good time. I kind of was debating whether or not to do a Christmas one, but that's could I don't know, write a Christmas jingle or something.
We can do a late one.
We could do one in February and like, hey, here's the Christmas one. Sorry we're late. Please take your Christmas tree down sometime soon. It's looking brown. Okay, so we got quite a few skits that we made. That was fun. The one thing I'd like to say about it is every time we get a skit and I feel creative, it gets me excited. It's like, oh, I'm going to edit the shit out of this. This is going to be fun. And some reason, every single time I've tried to find a way to incorporate my my deep booming voice, which in hindsight, it sounds fantastic. But at the other end, like, for example, the one for Kojima, you could barely understand what the fuck he's saying half the time. And it's like,
which is fine. I think that worked out quite well.
For Kojima's, in that instance, is like, okay, he's just rambling and he sounds godlike, so no one cares. He's talking about his fucking game for some reason. Oh man, good times. It was fun.
We had quite a few guests on the first half of this, not first half, but this year.
Yeah, quite a bit. I'm trying to remember who our first one. Technically, it would have been Brandon during E3. Brandon, there was an instance where you and I tried recording when I was at a hotel, but the Wi-Fi
that didn't work out. Yeah,
it was so fucking god awful on my end that I ended up having to scrap it just because we kept chopping out. And then I had Brandon come in and we just powered through it. And I'm sorry about that, man. It sucks that the episode got scrapped, but honestly, I think I was tired as fuck anyway. So I'm like, E3 for Ubisoft was piss poor. You've been disconnected. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, and I think it was during a time where I was busy traveling around, so I wasn't able to actually step in and say much. Or like, I wasn't part of the episodes. What am I saying? I wasn't part of the episodes. The one with Brandon when we first did it, and then I think the one with Joey, Skyward King.
Were you sitting out for that one? I know one of us did. It was either Cam or you. I didn't remember who.
It was most likely me because I traveled to New York and then I went to Florida. I did a bunch of traveling during in July, August.
That makes sense. Skyward King, aka our boy Joey. I believe he changed his name on Twitter, but I don't know at this point. Joey had a very strong opinion on trying to get us to play Warframe at the time, and kudos to him because I almost jumped on it. If it wasn't for Destiny 2, I think that happened like soon after that, I would have strongly considered it. But man, he had such an enthusiasm for that game, and quite frankly, he if there was one person I would say that was the hot pitcher for Warframe, it was him. He was a good friend. I loved talking with him both during that, and I believe he's just all around in general. I like to talk to him on Twitter and stuff. I like to show him support because he's got the Skyward Cast. He's got his own show, and every time I give him a shout out, it's like, oh man, I gotta show him a shout out. And it's like we kind of circle jerk each other into some production value, and I know, right? Great. So Joey, who is at Skyward King on Twitter, thank you very much for being a guest on the show. That was absolutely awesome. I would do the same for my friend Brandon, but he has shit. So shout out to my best friend Brandon, as my wife would say. You a little bitch. So who else? Let's see. I think the next person, it would have been either Maria. Let's say Maria. Honestly, Maria, also known as Lord of the Marias, I believe, specifically. She decided to give it a shot. She wanted to guess. She was never on a podcast before.
Oh, she was not.
No, that was her first time, and she was telling me how nervous she was and all that stuff. And when she said that, then all of a sudden I started getting nervous, and I'm like, no, you got to be confident, because if you're confident, she'll feel like everything's good. And that was wild. She had a lot of good input to have for that episode. She was pretty soft spoken unless she had a strong opinion. Then she just went right at it, like straight to the throat kind of stuff, and it was awesome. And then what's up? I
mean, if it helps, like for the first 20-ish something episodes, I'm just in a constant state of nervousness. So I just fight through it.
Oh my gosh.
Can't be nervous if you're always nervous.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, thinking head meme. That you were very quiet for the first few episodes because you didn't know how what's the best time to interject or provide input. But look at you now. You are a chatty catty.
Oh, I mean, I try. It's different on like a recording, right? Because I'm like, well, this is gonna be, because in my head I'm like, oh, all right, this is gonna be recorded. When can I jump in now? Is that can I say something now? Is that
I have an opinion, but I don't want to push it.
It's not even about that. It's purely like, should I let him finish what he's saying first before I jump in? Oh, okay. He's almost done. He's almost done. Let me jump. Tyler said something. He's
gonna breathe. He's gonna breathe sometime, motherfucker. I got my opinion. My name is Nick. And it's like, okay, fine. You have an opinion. We all stop and look at you, and it's like the showstopper.
Yeah, it was. It took me a while. Also because I'm usually like that around new people. It takes me a while to like warm up and be my usual idiotic self, and I think I'm okay now.
Kudos, awesome. Yeah, you've definitely improved since episode 1, man. 100%. I think we all improved, but in terms of like between the 3 of us and now 2 of us, I would say in terms of podcasting world, you made the furthest leap by far.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And just a shout out to Maria one last time. She is on Twitter at Lord of the Marias. Thank you, Maria. I also thank you for the fun time that we had immediately afterwards, where we played a shit ton of Fortnite for some reason. All 4 of us. We just got wicked wild with it.
Did I stream that?
I'm pretty sure somebody streamed it at that point. It was interesting because we had talked about potentially having her become one of the co-hosts. And she's like, maybe I'll accept. But then afterwards, she's like, maybe I shouldn't. And I'm like, well, if you're still nervous and, you can't commit every, weekend, then you probably shouldn't. But you're always welcome back. And that still holds to this day. Oh, man. Hashtag we miss Maria. Around that same time, I had an episode come out. One shot that kind of fell flat immediately afterwards was the Casual Master Quest special for the history of Nintendo, in which we had a special guest, PSVG Kevin, over on PSVG side. And I think we nailed it out of the park. Like, I know you kept saying it, so you don't have to tug my dick over it, but that was a good ass podcast episode. And it was very informative and high quality.
Oh, that's one of my favorite episodes that you've ever made. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna say it again, but yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes you've ever made.
It's one of those things where we say we should fucking take over that and do it, because as it turns out, like I think 2 weeks later, after I was getting things set up for us to do part 2, he just randomly blocked me. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, that's cool. Oh, Nick's giving that face like, oh boy, Tyler's probably gonna go on that fucking PSVG rant again. Nope.
Oh, no. I'm like, right, fucking
crowd control. He can edit out whatever he says afterwards. Nah. So I just want to give out a shout out, Kevin. He did a great job with the history of Nintendo, and I hope further success. You can find him on Twitter at PSVG Kevin, which I believe that's the case because, as I said, he has me blocked on Twitter, so I have no fucking idea. Oh, man. Good times. Let's see. Another person I think we should probably give a shout out fairly soon is we had a pretty popular person over on your end, Nick.
We had bud of mine, Vicky, on.
We had Vicky. Like, I didn't realize like the level of power that was coming along when she walked into the room, and like a commenter who looked at what I thought was, I know she doesn't want the pedestal, but it was like, hey Vicky, I stream games too, right? And it's like the look I can imagine her proverbially giving me if I said something like that was just. I imagine like a blinding light, like a GIF image of me just like her, and then a bright light, and all of a sudden I'm just slowly being atomized, like Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good level shit.
So
no, go ahead.
So mind you, I just watched Infinity War again. They just put it on Netflix, so that cuts a little too deep. I met Vicky and a few other people, a bunch of other like fairly popular streamers when I went to Florida for GardenCon earlier this year.
Yeah.
And got to hang out a little bit. Like a lot of that time I spent hanging out with Vicky and some of the other friends. And when I think about the podcast, I think about not necessarily. I know maybe this might be a little bit cliche or okay. When I'm looking for people to come on the show, I'm constantly looking for people who I'm like, well, can I have a conversation with you about this, or would you be able to, can it be a good episode? Would it be funny? I'm not necessarily looking at how popular they are or whatever. And then Vicky just seemed natural to me because she's been fucking gaming forever. She's a Nintendo fanboy just as much as you are. So I'm like, this makes sense.
Nintendo fanboy. What are you talking about with all this shit behind me?
So I'm like, okay, this makes sense. And I already, she knows me, I know her. Let's see if she's interested. And it worked out. And I honestly, it's probably one of my favorite episodes with a guest on. Because it's my first guest that came on, but also I think we had good conversations that episode.
I think we did too. Honestly, I think I got a little too friendly immediately because I kept seeing little things in the background. Like, oh, she likes this. I gotta talk to her about this because my thoughts are important. Please, Vicky, notice me, senpai, kind of shit. And it's like she was a good blast. She was almost serene at points, and I wasn't sure if she couldn't have been nervous. She's been messing with this stuff far longer than we ever have. But it just felt like she had a serene grace around her, and I just wanted to break that down and just jump in the mud with her and talk about video games. And I hope we get a second chance sometime to talk with her more. Right.
I feel like, and to talk maybe more broadly about guests in general, I feel like that's how I felt like the first few episodes. Purely just like, all right, let's. These guys have the experience. This is their show.
I'm gonna keep up appearances so they don't immediately kick me by episode 5.
That was what I was thinking. Yeah, but
I mean, you pretty much sealed the deal as David Cage, man. So episode 3, you were locked in.
You were not letting go of me. Seems like it. But
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Worse things have happened. I've met my roommate. But it's just like kind of like not interrupting people in their flow and stuff. So I can understand why some guests might be, in general, I'm not saying anything about our guests. I'm just saying in general, like guests, I can understand why they might be a little bit, apprehensive to jump in here and there, just because they don't want to disrupt the natural flow of how the episodes go.
I mean, if you think about it, when it comes to a very large time streamer such as herself, she has, strong worded thoughts and opinions to say, but she's saying it to a bunch of silent people with a chat screen. Yeah. She's not, I mean, I'm sure she's a social person in general, but when it comes to actually talking with other people on recorded or streaming format, she's probably not used to having a face that's ready to cut her mid-sentence to give a thought or, a compliment what she's thinking.
That might be true, especially with people she's like...
Or I could be full of shit. That's another possibility.
Or like even, to some extent, pretty much like just strangers over the internet, and we're talking about this, and she's being asked to give like what's her true opinions and then actually battle it out. It's nerve-wracking sometimes. It can be when you're like, all right, now you're going to present your opinion and defend it. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, I digress. I don't know where
you digress. Shout out over to Vicky.
Yeah, you can find her. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, she's your guest since you.
I've had one guest, Tyler.
Yeah,
let me have her.
Take it.
You can find her on Twitter at GeekChickTV. And from there you can find her through on Facebook, Mixer, as GeekChickTV.
Yeah, shout out. And would love to have you back sometime as any of the guests that we would talk about here. Another person that I want to give a shout out to is two people, actually, a combined duo that we got a chance to interview over on the end of Pixel Spark.
That was an interesting episode.
That was wild, considering they were both Australian, and being on the other side of the world meant we had to really put together a hell of a time zone fix, because I don't know if we all knew exactly what time zone we are in, like, to each other. Like, okay, I know Nick is 3 hours behind me. One of these bastards is 12 hours behind me, and then one is like
12 hours ahead.
Or I had no idea. Like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give you a time. I'm gonna put an EST. You Google translate that into your time zone. You tell me what you think. And one of them be like, okay, I'm good at this time, and the other one's like, I'm good at this time. And then later it's like, just so you know, it's gonna be 3 a.m. for me. I'm like, why the fuck would you pick that time? That's god awful. And it was crazy. But the people we're talking about was Quantum and Snowfox, and code names Chris and Sam, who were and still are now the head admin and admin of the Pixel Spark Generations server.
Oh, nice.
And they're still doing pretty good. I like to think that I've kept pretty good contact with them. Every now and then I duke it out with them, but opinions are opinions, right?
Right, and seeing whether you can get away with doing, X, and then they're like, no, you can't do that just because you have all these powers now. Yeah,
a fun fact, during that time, I was applying to become a helper, the first level of staff on that, which I have 100% got.
Yeah.
Not because of the podcast, but goddamn, I put my time in for that server. I still do. But yeah, Quantum Snowfox were interesting because they either didn't have cameras or they were so shy that they didn't want to show themselves. The reveal that they were, I think Quantum is somewhere in the teenage years, and Snowfox, I believe, is 21. And so they're afraid that, if we reveal our age, we might lose our status as, prominent figures of this video game society over here. It's like, okay, guys. Or they just didn't have cameras, but they were chatty. They were willing to talk it out.
Yeah.
And over the months, talking with them further, I've learned a lot of shit about the server and history. There's a lot of good history to it, and they have their own big plans, and I really appreciate them for that. I don't believe Snowfox, aka Sam, had a Twitter, but I know for a fact that later on, Quantum randomly gave me a Twitter handle. I don't think he actually uses it, but sure. It's at Quantum_hype. Quantum Hype is his actual name in the server. So, at Quantum_hype. Thank you guys for the help. And thank you guys for giving us a lot of good information about Pixelmon. How it's still alive and isn't getting its ass blasted like Mr. Soulja Boy right now is beyond me. But, kudos to them for pulling it through, because they sure in hell got my money. I think that's pretty much it for guests, though. Unless you want to count Cam. Why? Come on, it's a
You're
small
funny,
thing.
Tyler.
Okay, so Cam was a very important person and helped bring up Casual Master Quest to where it was.
Was, I guess, in this context. He didn't
I'd like to
die.
say he didn't die or anything. He just disappeared into the void and then proceeded. Like I think I've said and contacted him like 2 times over the past 4 or 5 months, and it stinks. I would love to talk with him more, but he has his own thing, and quite frankly, I don't know what else we could talk about that isn't Vita or Persona related at this point. But he did bring an important part to the first 20 episodes, and he had a lot of good things to say. Statistically, I feel like he was like the mastermind of information when it came to history, numbers. As he loved to brag, especially during the Nick Switch initiatives. He knew his numbers, and he knew them damn well. It
was frightening. I'll be honest.
It was scary how well he had numbers. It's like, God damn, Cam, come on, control yourself. And we all had our interviews of each other. I learned a lot about him. He's a wild figure, and I love him. It stinks that we kept butting heads over certain stuff, like it stank. I feel like if we somehow could have forged a better friendship over something, I feel like we could have gone places, and maybe we still can. And that shout out is for you, Cam. On Twitter you can find him at Cam Collects, one word. He loves a lot of good shit, man, so just check him out for me, will you? A couple of shout outs for people who didn't get to go on the show, but they tried, and they've been showing us support throughout the way. Big shout out to Delvin Cox, Mr. Delvin. Delvin has been our literal sugar daddy for the most part. He's been there almost every step of the way, just contacting, saying, "Hey, how are you doing, man?" Because he couldn't guest on our show, and that's where Joey came into the picture. But he's since then had me jump on his show and give a shout out to our podcast, say how everything went, how everything came to be. He's been contacting me every now and then just to make sure life is good. And I mean, hell, he even bought my wife chocolates, and like he's got a best friend out of me, man. So Delvin Cox, thank you. You can find him on Twitter. He's at Delvin_Cox. And quite frankly, I think we are due to try to sweet talk him into getting onto the show sometime soon, because
I want to have more guests.
He's got a lot to say, man. I know he does. He has thoughts and opinions. And while he could say it on his podcast, I think with the right aggravators, aka us, we could get some more good shit coming out of him that maybe he didn't realize, like a hidden power in him even he didn't know he had.
So we can play good cop, bad cop. I call dibs on good cop.
Oh shit, no. I want to keep our friendship. So
all right, fine, we can do like neutral cop.
We'll keep him on his toes by randomly alternating every 5 minutes. I'm like, Delvin, you're doing great, you motherfucker. Tell me about what you think about Nintendo for real.
It's like you walked into an episode of, the podcast version of Switch. Is that the name of the movie? I
have no idea.
All right, never mind the reference. Moving on.
Oh, okay. Another person I want to give a shout out who's been helping, spread the love and whatnot here and there. Flat Cap Gary. Gary is part of the Nintendo Dads now, amongst many other things. And he honestly was trying to sweet talk me into opening a second podcast that was dedicated to Nintendo, because apparently he wants more Nintendo podcasts out there. And Nick, let's be real, we're pretty Nintendo heavy at times. But
yeah, we are.
It's like jumping the full Nintendo would be kind of scary, because it's like you got things to say about PC games and whatnot that couldn't be on the Switch. And quite frankly, I like to talk about how bad of a game Nier Automata is every now and then, and that's only on the PS4. So it's like, options. But Gary
Nier Automata is on the Xbox One as well.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Great. So
yeah, it came out a couple of months ago. The enhanced edition came out. Game of the Year edition came out for Xbox.
Well, good for Xbox. Now they can understand why.
We even put it on our release. We even put it on a release list. What do you mean?
Oh, jeez. Rip. Double rip. So, shout out to Gary. Thank you, Flat Cat Gary. You can check him out on Twitter at Flat Cap Gary. Look, Flat Cap. Look, another thing I want to point out, he's the reason why I wanted to try a flat cap. Like, it was such a cool, magical thing to me. That was like, there's no way I can wear those because I'm American, right? And I was like, holy shit, Amazon exists. I could totally wear this. What's that? Oh, I thought you're pointing at yourself.
No, I was scratching.
You're scratching your right nipple there.
You pulled it off.
I like to think I did. Yeah, you have
it looked good.
I feel like you have to have either a beard or mutton chops in order to pull it off. Otherwise, you kind of look like Jacksepticeye, and that's a scary thing. You don't want to do that. But yeah, thank you very much, Gary. I really do appreciate it. And I think probably potentially one of our biggest shout outs that we should give is you, Nick. Well, no, I'm just kidding. Sorry. No.
I'd like to thank my parents, God, Tyler and Cam for this to happen.
No, a big shout out to you, Nick. You did great, man. I shouldn't like hand you the award and snatch it and say, "Ha sucky." No,
I mean, thank you. I'd like to say you too, because this was fun. Honestly, I've had a lot of fun. This is the one thing that I was able to count on every week, and that honestly, some weeks it kept me sane. It really did.
Absolutely. Like, there's been a lot of rough days where I'm like, fucking A. And coming into the podcast and recording, it's cathartic at times.
Yeah,
you can air your grievances. And quite frankly, I without you and without Cam, I feel like I would have been on a dark boat for a while. Like, it felt rough. But we got through it.
We got through it. And also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. We just talked. We're 33 episodes about how cutting off is okay if you have something important to say. Nick.
We wouldn't be here without the people who listen to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like we do it for I mean, it'd be nice if we became like super popular and we were able to make a living off this.
Hell yeah.
But for me, it was never about the numbers. I like the numbers because they're fascinating. Like, I ask Tyler every now and then, just because I'm interested in just seeing what the metrics are. But just the fact that there are people who listen to us ramble about video games every week is amazing. I can't understand it, but I
know it's mind-boggling at times. Like, you would choose us over these other fucking idiots that want to talk about video games. Thank you. You have good taste. I really appreciate you. Look, there are some other podcasts out there that want to talk, and they're just not that good. And I don't want to make them self-conscious, but it means they need to improve. And if they won't improve, then the results will show themselves.
I think we've improved from day one.
I'm gonna say we were on that boat at one point. I think we scraped through a couple of dark times. Yeah. Hell, we might be in a depression now. I have no idea. But what matters is the people that stuck it out with us through thick and thin. Even if you just listen like every fourth episode or something like that, you've done something for us. You took an interest and said, okay, thank you for the download and all that stuff. But mostly, thank you for giving us a chance to entertain you and let us also talk about video games at the same time. We pepper it in.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed our commentary and shenanigans. And I will make bold, sweeping declaration, New Year's resolution.
Okay, I got the Hawaiian lei.
I will play more video games.
Will you? Okay, cool.
I will be specific. I will play a larger variety of video games.
Okay. That is a fair thing. I'd like to think I will too. In fact, after I do this episode, I'm going to put it on Twitter. I'm going to put a vote because I need to get this decided and I want to start working on it. I have 3 games, Nick, that I want to keep playing, but they kind of fell off the edge through various circumstances. It's not even maybe the fault of the game. One might be, but let's be real. So I got 3 games. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, hit me.
Sorry, I started slowing up. I'm like, where am I going with this? So the first one is Persona 5. Persona 5 is a wonderful game by Atlas, and it was making great, like, leaping jumps and entertaining me for the PlayStation 4. However, I put it on pause because I was playing Persona 4 Golden, and I wanted to pick one or the other. And right. I wanted to pick Golden because that is something I can play anywhere if I wanted to, whereas Persona 5 I can't play when I'm on the go. Second game is Yakuza 0. A lot of good games of Yakuza has come out recently. For example, Yakuza 6, Song of Life. And they have also started doing Kiwami, which is remakes of the first and second one. And I really like Yakuza. It was a fun beat-em-up game. Problem is, though, it was getting fairly long. I got distracted. Other games came in. Like, it came out, and then 2 weeks later, Breath of the Wild came out. Like, it got shut down fairly hard. It came out, like, on the 20th of February, I believe. And then a week later, Horizon Zero Dawn came out. So that started eating up my time. And then 3 days later, Breath of the Wild came out. And so it just got shoved into the corner so hard. It's not fair for it. And I really want to pick it back up. And lastly, a game that I want to pick up and finish is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Because I bought it. and I chose it over Spider-Man. And so even if I don't like it as a great game, it's a good game, and I just want to finish it just to say I finished the Tomb Raider series. Problem is, though, it was a game that I bought to play while my wife was watching, kind of one of those bonding games. It's so bad that she gave up watching it. She doesn't watch it anymore. She doesn't care. And so then I lost interest. And so my third game is either going to be Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or I just break the disc in half and buy Spider-Man like I should have and played that instead. So
I would vote for Spider-Man.
So 1 is Persona 5, 2 is Yakuza 0, 3 is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or 4 is break Shadow of the Tomb Raider and get Spider-Man. So 4. I think your thought matters. You can check it out. I'm on Twitch. Sorry, not Twitch. At Twitter at 2times_Tyler. You'll see a poll coming up fairly soon saying, "Hey, what should I do?" And your thoughts matter. Everybody's thoughts matter. You know, some people want to voice it, some people want to be heard, and you know, if you want to do it through us, that's where you can find it. Man, a lot of shit happened this year besides Just Us and video games, though, Nick.
A lot of things, a lot of good and bad things, but for the purposes of this episode, I think we'll focus on some of the better things.
So, just stuff that happened on my end.
Pretty. I mean.
Hey, you give me a good thing that you want to talk about, because when I asked, you said nothing.
There is literally one on the list that ended up in me getting a console.
That is holy shit. That's fucking true. Goddamn.
What do you mean?
Nick, we did the Nick Switch initiative for the podcast, and it got you a fucking Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
You like, you're talking about, oh man, I actually had to apply myself to do for the podcast. And then the fucking episode 8, the Nick Switch initiative happened. You're like, motherfucker, I got to actually study Wikipedia articles now. And it just got vicious. And it's weird because sometimes it was super easy, like, easy week. Thank you. Thank you for the free money, put for the Switch. And then there's times where it's like, Cam's like, I'm going to make you read 6 articles at the same time, and let's talk about mobile Nintendo platforms. And it's like, Jesus, the fucking break.
Cam really brought it. Cam really brought it some episodes, and
that was hot sauce to them, straight to the sphincter, man. It was burning. Oof. But you worked through it, thick and thin. You even passed, I think it was either midterms and final exams, something along the lines. And
something like that.
Goddamn, you got yourself a Switch. And we got to play some good games together. I'd like to think Splatoon 2 is a personal favorite, I think, between the two of us so far.
Thank you, Tyler. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. I would like to say you earned it, but you're right. I wanted to make sure if there's one person I could think of in this entire realm that has been as friendly and courteous as you, that deserves something like that. I couldn't think of any other. It's only fair that you got something like that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna really break it in.
Please don't break it. Put a screen cover on or something. Jesus.
Not break the Switch, but like I'm gonna start ramping up, play more games on it. I just have to figure out a system, not a system, but like I have to figure out
the Nintendo Switch.
Figure out a way to diversify.
I solved the mystery, Nick. I think I got it.
How I play my games, because as tiresome as it is to hear about, like Destiny 2 is my shit, and so I just have to figure out between the content cycles how to fit in other games, and what games to focus on. But I do know that come second, the third half or fourth quarter next year, the new Pokemon game is all I'm going to be playing. Right.
I mean, you got games that you should consider, like, for example, Octopath Traveler. That's one that you were talking about. I really want to finish it at some point. It's a time sink like no other, but if you do it and you commit, it will be fun. Another one that I would obviously recommend again is Breath of the Wild. You need to get that and start working on that, man.
Yep.
There's something I could potentially consider, maybe recommending to you, and that is Diablo 3. Diablo 3 came out and it looks great on the Nintendo Switch.
I thought about it, but it's one of those games where I'm hesitant to not buy until I try it.
Sure.
It's not a game type I've played before, I think.
As far as of all the games that you've talked about so far, like the closest thing I could compare it to is Destiny, and even that's like the connection's so bare thin.
Yeah. No, I understand the connection or the minimal connection to Destiny. Yeah, I don't want to try it out and then regret spending the money. Really.
That is fair. We got to figure it out. Find something. And there's a bunch of other, a whole slew of options we can find you. Another big event that happened this year was I got changed. I got married. I got married, dude. After like being engaged with Amanda for like 3-4 years, we got fucking married. I think it was longer than that even. Oh no, it was about 3-4 years. But yeah.
You don't remember when you got engaged?
I remember where, but not when. I was a dumbass and decided to propose to her in the middle of a casino where, as it turns out, you're not allowed to have recorded footage there.
Oh.
So I could not have it recorded me proposing to her. Whoops.
Were you inebriated of any kind?
No. My thought process was I was going to tell her I was going to make the biggest gamble of my life since I was in a casino, and then I dropped to my knee. I thought it was a great idea, but it was also, I feel like I could have picked a better casino. Like we picked the most ghetto casino in the area. We could have went west over to Mount Pleasant. It would have been so much nicer. At least then we probably would have gotten free shit.
In hindsight, but now, you're here, married.
I would say we could do it a second time if we wanted to.
Just, divorce purely just to have a better engagement story.
Oh God, that sounds expensive. No, thank you. We'll just pretend. Actually, there was a couple times where like, honey, give me your ring, and she's like, what? And she was hesitant. She'd give me the ring, like we'd be at a restaurant, and then I'd pop the question right there, just to test it out, like see if this is gonna be good. And she'd get so upset with me every time I tried doing it, and or even suggesting it. There's a couple of good places. There's a good monument downtown Bay City called the Friendship Shell. It's a giant stone white arch that many people called the toilet bowl, but I think it would have been nice. It's such a nice place that the water there is so blue that it looks like Kool-Aid. That's how natural blue it is. But yeah, I got fucking married, and as far as I'm aware, we've done good. I think. Amanda, did we do good for our marriage? Are we happy? Okay, so a great 2018. It sounds like. No, I'm not going to answer that. It was rhetorical. I've had a fucking happy relationship, and I'm happy where I'm at right now. I think the only happier I could have at this point is if we extend the family a little bit further. But that is talk for 2019, people.
That's scary talk.
That's scary talk. That's where Tyler has to stop, playing a lot of things. Has to give up, playing Minecraft. But we got many years to talk about that. Months. Amanda's giving me the bedroom eyes of some sort. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
What does 2019 look like for Casual Master Quest?
That's a very good question. We do have something cool that we hopefully you guys heard like right now. You know what I'm talking about, Nick?
No.
The intro.
Oh yeah.
The intro.
Oh, right.
Nick, there was a new intro. What the hell? You listened to it and everything. It played.
Yes, I did. I listened to it. Yes, I know about this intro. This intro actually comes to us by my friends, Revelries, a music duo situated somewhere. And
this is probably the first time I've legit had a music intro like custom made for a podcast. Like we didn't steal this off of YouTube and then lower it like one beat so it wouldn't get copyrighted or anything like that. This is legit going to be our intro song.
Okay, let me try that again. So this intro comes to us by my friends Revelries. They are a house music duo. I went to high school with them. In some sense, I spent my adolescent years drinking with them, and I grew up with them. And I don't know where I'm going to. They're good friends of mine. I reached out to them, thinking that this might be a good idea, and this is what we have, and it really grew on Tyler. I really like it. And so, yeah, you can find them on Twitter at Revelries Music. So that's REVELRIES Music. You can find them on YouTube with the same name, Revelries, on SoundCloud and on Spotify. They do a lot of really nice, chill house music that I enjoy. And
hell yeah, they do.
So, give them a listen and say hi to them. Tell them Nick sent you, because they're friends, and it's good to see them really hitting their stride lately.
Yeah, kudos to them. Like every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh my god, that's gonna be ours. We're gonna get to play it. That's gonna be our show. Yep. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Beyond the music, 2019 for Casual Master Quest, I wanna do more.
You want to do more?
I want to make a little bit.
Tyler's rubbing his hands together. I smell ambition. That could be popcorn. I can't tell.
I think you can attest to that too. I feel like I've gotten a little bit more ambitious over the last few weeks.
Yes, you have. You got a little bit more fire in your eyes. I love it too, because it means you want to do something outside the norm. You want to take a step further in a direction that I don't think either of us have been before.
No, and I can tell you for sure that we started with the whole seasons, and I think we're gonna stick to that. So at least for the next 7 episodes, things would be business as usual.
Okay.
But maybe we'll come back with something new and spicy.
Oh man, even I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, so I'm also excited.
At this point, neither do I, but I have to say something anyways.
Are you pulling a Bethesda saying Skyrim or Elder Scroll 5 is coming out, but even we have no idea what it's about?
No, but at least I'll meet people halfway.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna promise canvas bags, but at least I'll give them cotton bags, not nylon.
Oh man, I'll give them Walmart shopping bags that aren't they don't have holes in it. That's the best deal I can offer at this point. I got a lot of them, so if you want them, I can send them to you. But you're paying shipping, just so you know, listener.
But yeah, no, I wanna make this something.
Make it big.
That's not necessarily big, but I want to make it something. That
maybe not big in the normal sense, but like explosive. Well, maybe not explosive. It's funny because I remember when we were first talking about the name of the show, you introduced the word radical, which scared the shit out of me, just considering all the circumstances.
Sure.
But as an adjective, we want to do something maybe not radical, but something that's going to be eye-opening. Like, oh, this is why I listen to these crazy guys. They're about to pull this shit off.
And I think we found our stride a little bit with some of the skits that we've done. I do enjoy having guests on the show, but I'm gonna actively. I am not that I'm the only one looking, and Tyler also looks, but I actively look for people I think we'd have a good conversation with, not necessarily an opinion to agree with us. I want to look for people who'll bring some spicy opinions.
It's interesting because one thing I hate, maybe not hate, but strongly dislike is echo chambers.
Yeah.
I don't like it when somebody agrees with me 100% of the time, especially if it's their own thought. Like, obviously, I like some order in the court, but if somebody, if I say, like, I like this game, and it's like, God, why? And it's like, for example, Detroit Become Human. I was the one that loved it, but Cam was not as huge of a fan out of it at all. And you were 50-50 just because, you didn't have enough evidence in the court to present.
I enjoyed watching the game. So I was like, yeah, I can see what you mean. But, otherwise it's not the kind of game I'd play. But yeah, no, having somebody just sit there and say yes, yes, yes is boring.
Because if I could interject, when it comes to a podcast, a lot of people, when they listen and they think about video games, they're like, all right, I want this person, when they say a game's name, to convince me whether or not I should like it or hate it. And that is good, because if I say, this game is fantastic, here are the strong points of it, there's a couple of weak points, but they're well covered by this, then it's like, okay, I'm convinced. However, if I have a second person saying, well, I played this, and this is my style of thought to it, and this is why I wouldn't recommend it. And suddenly it's like, oh no, the listener might have to think for themselves. They can't be sheep anymore. Oh no. They might have to associate with one or the other and then agree with it. And it's like, that's good. That means you're actually thinking for yourselves, and we're just helping, stir it up. And that's what I love. I don't like echo chambers, because if people share the same opinion every single time, everybody might be happy, but the moment that, it starts to lead into heavy group thinking, because it's like, oh, I share all the same thoughts with this person, so I'm going to like them. I'm going to agree with everything they say. Suddenly, boom, they say something controversial. Let's keep it light. Like in a video game, it's like, do I have to like this game now? Do I have to give it a shot and, force myself to enjoy this game? It's like, no, that's horrible. Don't do that. Have an opposing opinion when you want it.
Yep.
Hot take, right?
Hot takes. But yeah, no, that's, I want to find... I don't want us to necessarily become a interview show, but okay. So certain guests I'd like to have on to be able to interview them about specific topics, but others I'd like to have on to literally just add on to become a third co-host, third host for that episode. Just sit in and talk bullshit with us and add in, try and like ignite the listeners or ignite each other.
Absolutely. Our podcast is kind of like chili. By itself, it's a fantastic chili. You know, it's your mom's favorite chili that she used to make every 4 months whenever, you had too many beans, but not enough beef, and the beef's starting to go bad kind of stuff. We're going to make some good ass chili. But there's different kinds of chili. You can make a nice white bean chicken chili if you want to. You can make a nice Hispanic chili, or something a little bit more spicier, or something with corn in it for some reason if you're weird about it. Which shout out to my wife for introducing that in my life. Yeah, she just turned to look at me. Anyways, that chili is great, and there's different types of chili. And
change it up every now and then.
sometimes we need a little corn in our chili.
Yeah. On that note, for me, thank you.
Nick,
to everybody listening.
For
What's
the
up?
listeners, Nick is doing his nervous tick where he starts to scratch random parts of his body because he's starting to get a little bit of anxiety.
I'm trying to figure out what to say. Just seeing the numbers and seeing that people actually listen to us, and me doing this, I needed creative outlet, and I found a random Reddit post, and it was Tyler, and I sent him a Twitter DM. He replied, I replied, and then within 2 weeks we were doing this. I can't thank anybody enough for being able to do this. So yeah, I hope you all have had a wonderful year. If not, I hope next year is even better, and it's going to be awesome and kick some ass.
Hell yeah. You guys are going on an adventure of your own, whether it be life, productivity, school, whatever the case is, new job. Video games is still going to be a part of your life, but sometimes you got to face different struggles. However, just know, at the very least, Nick and I will be there for you. We'll be happy to talk with you, happy to talk about video games with you, and occasionally try to convince you to join the Pixel Spark server generations.
Sometimes.
But I think on that note, that is going to be the end of the show, unless Nick has a wild blast pitch he wants to hit me with.
Buy Destiny 2.
Buy Destiny 2 Forsaken.
Forsaken is 50% off right now.
It's dirt cheap. You should probably buy it. I personally recommend on the PC. PS4 is not a bad option. Don't buy it on the Xbox, please, because the fan base...
Kidding.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
do that to yourself. Don't do that to
Okay,
yourself.
so don't buy Destiny 2, especially don't buy it on the PS4 or the PC. It's 50% off. You shouldn't do it. Okay, that's it. That was Nick. You can find him on Twitter at LRWarrior11, as well as all the good stuff, such as Twitch and Instagram. You can find myself on Twitter solely right now, just because I can't stream worth shit. I'm 2x Tyler. All letters, all one word. So I think that's it. Shout out to all the people that's been a special part of Casual Master Quest. Thank you guys very much. Thank you all personally. I know you think this is corny because I can't say it individually to each one of you, but you're listening right now. Holy shit, thank you. Thank you. And that was Casual Master Quest episode number 33. And we're going to see you next week, hopefully. If not, we'll see you sometime. Don't worry. We're like that old grandma that has a horrible
We're
racist
always
stuff.
around.
We're always there, and we're going to have something to say. Don't you worry. You just got to find us. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was it. Don't forget to never stop the grind. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.